Hey everyone, Yafa here from monday.com. Welcome to monday.com's platform demo, a great entry into the world of Monday. Today we'll walk you through the most important features available in the platform. After watching this demo, we recommend taking the Building Workflows in monday.com course in our academy to learn how to build your own workflow in monday.com. Let's begin by defining what monday.com really is. Monday.com is a work OS, or a work operating system, that powers companies and teams to manage their entire businesses from one platform. Monday.com offers a range of products to suit your needs. This platform demo will cover what's available when you purchase the monday.com Work Management product, which is our customizable platform for managing any use case in any industry. We also offer additional, more specific products, including Monday Sales CRM, and Monday Dev, which are sets of pre-built boards and dashboards along with other unique features for these use cases. Now, let's hop right into my monday.com account to take a closer look at what's available in the platform. When you first log into your account, you'll be brought to a homepage that looks like this. The homepage can also be found at any time in the top left corner here. On the left side panel is where we will navigate throughout the account. Let's start by understanding what boards are. If I go into my work management section, I can find some of my boards here. Boards are where you manage your workflows and are the heart and soul of the platform. For today's demo and use case, I want to use monday.com so my team can manage a simple project workflow, which will be opening up our new bakery business. So first, let's go ahead and create my project board. When it comes to adding a new board, there are actually a few ways that we can go about this. To do so, let's start by clicking the Add button here at the top. From here, we can see all of our options. We have the option to start from scratch with a new board. We can also use a pre-made board in our template center. This is a great place to start if you want a basic framework to get you off the ground. You can also create a board out of data that you have located in an external platform, such as Excel or Asana, by clicking the Import Data option. Today, we will create a board from scratch so that I can show you around the building blocks you would use to build a board. From here, you'll see that we have three different options for our board type. First, we have main boards. Main boards are open and accessible to all the team members on your account. Private boards are private to you and will only be available to specific team members that you choose to subscribe to that board. Lastly, we have shareable boards. Shareable boards act like private boards for team members in the account, meaning they must be subscribed to see them. However, guests like contractors or freelancers who are outside of your organization can also be invited to them. Guests will only see the shareable boards they are invited to and will not see anything else inside the account. Now let's go ahead and name our board Brooklyn Bakery and go through the key building blocks which make up the board. Great, so now let's start with items, or the rows on your board. Items will represent whatever you are managing in your workflow, whether it's a task, project, client, property, and so on. For today's use case, we are looking at a project workflow of opening our Brooklyn Bakery, and each item will represent a task in the project. There is a best practice methodology for how to define and then build out your workflows into boards in monday.com. Today, we won't be going through this, but we recommend you check out the Building Workflows course in the Academy after completing this demo. Now, before we customize our items, let's talk about groups. Whenever we add a board from scratch, there will be two groups by default. Groups help to organize and categorize the items on your board. Depending on your workflow, they might represent periods of time, like the weeks or the months, phases of a project, clients, locations, or any other way of grouping your items together. Since our project is a short project which spans just a matter of weeks, I'm going to rename the groups to represent week 1 and week 2. I'm then going to add one more group here at the bottom, and we're going to name this the later group to represent the tasks that are running a little behind schedule. Let's now go ahead and edit the items to be our tasks. For week 1, I need to add some tasks including hiring employees, creating the menu, and order the ingredients. For week 2, we need to add tasks including train managers, manage our finances, and I'm going to add one more item or one more task here at the bottom, which will be to open the bakery. Nice. Now, often enough, tasks or projects can't really be explained just by one sentence, and they may need to be broken down into smaller parts. That's where sub-items come in. These give you the ability to add an additional level of hierarchy and granularity to your workflow. To add a sub-item, just hover over the arrow next to the item name and expand your sub-items. From here, you'll be able to add a new sub-item. So for example, in hiring employees, there might be other tasks within, including reviewing the CVs. You can then collapse your sub-items by clicking the arrow here. And the number next to the item name represents the number of sub-items attached to that item. Now that we understand the board hierarchy, let's take a look at the columns. Columns allow you to track different data types against each item on the board. So in building your board, think about what sort of data you want to track and then add the relevant columns to match it. Let's start by looking at the default columns on your board. So we have the person column, status column, and date column. The people column is useful for assigning responsibilities and creating accountability within your team. Every time I assign someone to a task, they will get a notification in their notification bell icon over here, and they will be directed right to this task. I'm just going to go ahead now and assign some of my team members who will be responsible for each of these tasks for our bakery project. I can also assign multiple people to work on a task as we often work together on this project. Awesome. Next, we have the status column. This provides you with a list of customizable colored labels. It's most traditionally used to show the status of items in a board, but it can also be used to show priority, or you can categorize your items in other ways too. Here, we will keep the status column in its traditional use so that the team can easily see the status of each task at a glance. So let's go ahead and set our statuses for these tasks. Next, we have the date column. This allows you to assign a date to each item. Here, we will use it to assign a due date for each task, and we will edit the name of the column to reflect this. So just by clicking into the column over here, we can rename this to be due date. Then let's go ahead and set some due dates for this week. And let's set the due dates for next week's tasks as well. Awesome. Some columns have specific settings associated with them, which you can find in the 3 dots next to a column name and navigating to the settings here. For example, the date column has a setting called deadline mode. This allows you to add a more visual way to see how long is left until a deadline or whether a task was completed on time or after the due date. So let's go ahead and set our deadline mode. It will ask you now to connect the date column with a status column, and you also have the option to connect your people column as well. Now we can easily see if things are running on time, or for example, if something was overdue, or if things were done on time. Next, I want to add some columns into our board. To start, I'm going to click on the plus sign here, and I'm going to start by adding a numbers column. The numbers column can be used to display any kind of numerical data and can be customized to represent anything you need. In our case, it will be used to display the budget of our project broken down by tasks. So let's go ahead and rename this to be our budget and set the budget for each of our tasks. Once you add the budget to each of your items, you can also customize it in the column summary here. We can set the unit or the currency. We can also type our own unit, and we can choose the function of the number column as well. The next column I want to add is a timeline column. So again, I'm just going to click on the plus sign, and this time I will add a timeline. The timeline allows you to assign a start and end date to each of your tasks. This will come back into play later on in the demo when we'll be showing you how to bring the timeline to life. In the meantime, let me just set the timeline for some of our tasks. Great. Now finally, I'm going to add in one more status column onto our board, which will now indicate the priority of each task. So back to the plus sign, I can now go ahead and add a status column, and we will rename it to priority. By clicking into the labels here, you can edit the name and the color to show the kind of information that you need to see. So I'm going to go ahead and edit my labels to represent low priority, medium priority, and high priority, and then we can change the colors. Now let's set the priority for our tasks. And we're all set. We do offer over 30 different column types, which can be found here by clicking the plus sign, going into more columns, and accessing the column center. We highly recommend checking out all of the options here. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at another important value of working in the board: communication. Communicating as a team about the tasks in context is super important. So on each item, you'll see a small speech bubble icon. This is what we call the update section. Now you can replace email and communicate about tasks in the same place that they are managed and easily find the conversation later on. For example, in an update, we can mention one of our teammates directly from this update by simply using the app button, similar to social media. We can also choose to mention a team of users by selecting everyone on this board, everyone on this item, and so on. Anytime you mention someone in the update section, they will be notified via email and within the bell notification icon over here. You can see all of your messages, unread messages, anything you were mentioned in, like in an update, or anything you were assigned to. When writing an update, you can also customize the text by using bold or underline. So you can select the format up here. You can also add bullet points to make lists. And you can also add files into an update and choose a file from your computer, and so much more. Once we post our update, we can react to it by liking it, and you can see who liked your update. You can also reply to it and communicate in a social media style from here. Amazing. Next, I want to introduce you to our amazing work docs, a central place for you and your team to collaborate, brainstorm, plan, and execute. As you see here, I already have a menu brainstorming work doc set up on my account, but let's show you how to create a new one as well. So to create a work doc, you would just click Add, and instead of a new board, you click on New Doc. For this demo, we will be working on my menu brainstorming work doc that is already set up. From this work doc, we can mention our team members like we just spoke about in the update section, and we can ask for their input, for example, before moving on. We can also embed boards, widgets, images, videos, and so much more directly into the work doc. To do so, you just click on the plus icon here, and you can embed boards and widgets. You can embed pictures and videos, GIFs, and so much more. For example, though, let's say I want to refer to my Brooklyn Bakery board as I'm writing out some of the notes for the menu. I can always embed it directly here, and I won't need to go back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and embed my Brooklyn Bakery board right into my menu brainstorming work doc. So let's go back to our Brooklyn Bakery board now. Not only can we use a board as a table, but we can also use a range of board views to visualize the information in the board in different ways. To add a view, you can click the little plus icon over here and look through the various views we offer in the Views Center. We're going to start off by adding a timeline view, so we can find that right over here. The timeline view is available in all plans except the basic plan, and this will let us see the span of dates allotted to all of our tasks in a more visual way, and it makes it super easy to understand how long the whole project will take to complete. So let's make it a little bit bigger. Each view has its own settings. So to access the settings, just click the three dots and find the settings. For example, on our timeline view, we can select what we'd like the colors to represent. So in the color by section, we can color it by board, by group, and so on. We can also choose how we want to group the items. So in the group by section, again, you can choose if you want to group it by status, by person, and so on. Nice. Next, I want to add a chart view. So I'm going to click the plus icon and select Chart now. This allows us to present our data from our board in customizable graphs. For our example and use case, we will add a chart view to see the budget of our tasks per week by adding a bar chart. So I need to now go into my settings to customize this. So we have a lot of different chart types. We have pie graphs, bar graphs, line graphs, and so much more here. Now to see the budget per week, I need to set my x-axis to group, which is per week. So we see week 1 and week 2. And then in my y-axis, I want to see the budget. Awesome. We have lots of other powerful views, like a form view, which brings data directly into your board anytime someone fills out a Monday work form, or a calendar view to see dates, the time tracking view, and workload view for resource management. Again, you can find these all from our Views Center here. Later on, I will show you how to add a dashboard to report on data from multiple boards. Now, back to our main table. So to reduce manual work and automate repetitive actions, let's check out our automations. They are probably one of the most powerful features in monday.com. Automations and integrations allow you to automate your entire workflow using triggers, actions, and conditions. These triggers and actions will occur inside of Monday when talking about automations, and they can also be used with external platforms like integrations. For now, let's check out our automations and understand a bit more about how they work. So let's go ahead and click on our automations and head over to the center here. Automations use a predefined trigger, like a status change, to automate a predefined action, like notifying someone. So let's go ahead and create an automation and see how it works. So as you see here, we have ready-made automations split into different categories. You can also create more complex automations by creating a custom automation here. For today's use case, we're going to head over to the status change category on the left side. From here, we can find the automation when status changes to something, then move item to group. By clicking into the underlined fields, you can choose the exact parameters that you want to set for this automation to work. I'm going to go ahead and customize the recipe to say, when status changes to stuck, I want to move it into that later group. Let's create the automation and test it out. So now anytime an item's status changes to stuck, it will be moved into our later group. I highly recommend checking out our automations. They are really such an incredible feature. Now, as you add more information to your boards, you'll want a quick way to easily find the exact information you're looking for. To do so, you can use the search bar up here, and you can just search for the items that you need that match your search. You can also use the filter option over here. For example, let's take a look at the tasks that are marked as working on it that I'm assigned to. So now my filter will only show me those tasks. I can also save this as a new view, and now I can easily come back to it whenever I want. It will be added up here as one of my board views, and I can always rename it, for example, to reflect my to-do list. Awesome. Now, almost everything on the board, like items, groups, and columns, can be moved by dragging and dropping. So for example, I can move items between groups. I can also move columns by dragging and dropping. And I can also drag and drop the groups to change the order. We can also select multiple items by checking the box next to the item's name. And then you can choose to move items all at once to a different group on this board or even to another board. We can also make the same changes to multiple items at once by checking off the boxes here, and then we can change the same thing all at once. If items or groups are no longer relevant, you can always archive or delete them by clicking the menu next to the item or group. So for example, next to the group, I can click the 3 dots and delete or archive it. And I can do the same thing with an item. I can archive it, or I can delete it. Deleted components can be restored from the recycling bin for 30 days, and you can unarchive components indefinitely. So to unarchive an item, you can always go into your board's archive, go to board settings and click on archived history, and then you can restore your items from here indefinitely. And then any deleted item will be found in your recycle bin over here and can be restored for 30 days. Lastly, I want to show you how you can add a dashboard to your account, which is a really great way to display information from multiple boards in just one place. So to add a dashboard, click on the Add button here. And instead of clicking New Board or New Doc, we can click on a New Dashboard. For this demo, I want to show you a dashboard that I already have set up in my account over here, which is called Overview Dashboard. In this dashboard, or any dashboard, you can connect multiple boards and then add the various widgets to display your data from all those boards. So I have 2 connected boards here. I can add my Brooklyn Bakery board, and then all of my widgets here will show the data from all of these boards, and you can add more widgets here. For example, on this dashboard, I have a calendar widget set up, displaying my data from all 3 boards, and I also have a Gantt widget set up, again, showing me information from all 3 boards connected to this dashboard. Dashboards are similar to what we just saw in the board views. The only difference is that we can see the data from various boards throughout our entire account. But as we start building more and more boards, we'll also want to organize them in our account. So let's go ahead and look at workspaces. Workspaces can be found up here. You can also browse all of your workspaces in this view. And workspaces allow you to have different dedicated sections of your account. You can use workspaces per team, company department, project, or client while allowing everyone to work in one account. Inside of your workspaces, you'll see that we have folders. Folders just help organize our boards within the workspace even more. Inside the folders, you can also add more folders and more boards to just keep everything a bit more organized. So for example, I can go ahead and click Add and create a new folder. And this could be for the bakery. I can then add new boards and folders within this folder as well. You can also favorite your boards by selecting the star icon at the top over here. And then you can easily find it and access it from your favorite section on the left side. Now, to easily switch between boards, dashboards, or workspaces, you can press Command B or Control B on a PC, and this quick search will open up where you can easily search for whatever you need. And lastly, we are excited to introduce you to My Work, where you can manage everything related to you across your entire account. My Work can be found over here on the left side panel. And from here, you can easily see all of your tasks across all of your boards listed in chronological order. Now, finally, before we finish up, if you click on your avatar in the bottom left corner, you'll be able to find your admin section. You can also find your profile preferences, the developer section, and so much more. So what now? I hope you guys enjoyed this tour of the main features available in the monday.com platform. This is just the beginning though. Head over to our Help Center by clicking the question mark down here. You can use the search to search for a specific aspect of the platform, for example, if you want to learn about automations, and then you'll see all of the resources across all of our support channels. You can also check out our knowledge base, which is where you will find articles and tutorial videos on specific features. Then we have the Monday Academy, which is where you can find more support on building out your workflows through on-demand courses and webinars. Lastly, we have our community page. This is where you can get inspiration and help from other monday.com users. And of course, you're always recommended to reach out to us if you have any other questions at support@monday.com. You can also chat us, and we are available 24/7 to answer your questions. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks a lot, and good luck.